Daniel Negreanu is holding 8-6 suited. Pre-flop, this is exactly the kind of button versus early dynamic where small mistakes get magnified. Gruissem opens 5100 from early position, a completely standard raise that projects strength and hits a lot of high card boards. Negreanu just flats on the button with one of his trademark speculative holdings. It is the kind of hand that rarely dominates anything but quietly crashes big pots whenever it actually connects. The flop is a board that gives each player just enough to keep going. Gruissem has 2 overcards and range advantage, so his 8,000 continuation bet is automatic. He is repping all the big queens, overpairs, and strong draws that fit his open. Negreanu, on the other hand, has exactly what he was hoping for, middle pair with a decent kicker in position. Folding second pair here would be way too tight. Raising would turn his hand into a bluff, so he does what he does best and turns it into a bluff catcher, flatting and forcing Gruissem to keep telling the story. The turn brings the 2 of hearts, and this is where the hand really sharpens. The card is a brick for Negreanu, but it quietly upgrades Gruissem bluff. He can now pretend he picked up a backdoor heart draw to go with his overcards, which makes barreling much more attractive. His 18,000 second shell is not just aggression for aggression's sake.
How much is it?
He is attacking all Negreanu's one pair, I'll call once and see, hands and putting pressure on exactly the kind of 8x that Negreanu happens to hold. Negreanu thinks it through and again chooses the stubborn line. His pair of 8s is still ahead of all the floats and semi-bluffs, and with position he is happy to keep Gruissem's range wide and confused. Then the river drops the ace, and that single card flips the script. All the way through the hand, Gruissem has been representing big aces and queens. Now he actually gets there.
Make sure it's not there. Nope, it's not there.
Pretty easy fold at this point. Daniel's only beating complete air.
He passes. Hearts, I guess.
What's that?
Phil Ivey is looking down on ace-9 offsuit, pre-flop. This is Ivey doing something he has done his whole career, isolating the big blind and putting him in a kicker cage before the flop even comes. He opens with ace-9 offsuit, a classic sit-between trash and premium, hand that plays very well when you are better than your opponent post-flop. Quoss defends ace-5 suited, and that call already sketches the outlines of his problem. He is never folding an ace this deep in the big blind getting a price, but his kicker is trash against a competent early position raiser. He is walking into a pot where every time he hits an ace, he has to live with the fear that the other guy's kicker will be better. The flop comes low and dry. From Quoss's point of view, this is one of those, I have nothing, but I am probably still ahead sometimes. He has ace high with a straight possibility, but no real pair, no showdown value yet. He checks, and Ivey fires 80,000 into a little over 100. That sizing is interesting. It is not a tiny range c-bet. It is a solid, confident stab that says, I expect you to fold a lot. With ace-9, Ivey is turning the best ace-high into a value protection bet. He is targeting exactly this type of thing. Random overcards, weak-suited aces, and small pairs that do not want to face big pressure. Quoss's call keeps things honest. He is not believing that this board always belongs to the raiser, and he knows Ivey can barrel. The river ace is the entire hand. It looks like a blank for the story, but it turns everything upside down. Both players suddenly smash top pair, and now that kicker problem Quoss created pre-flop shows up in bright neon lights. Ivey reads that hesitation and fires 150,000. Quoss goes into the tank and eventually pays it off. Mike X is looking down on 4-3 suited. Pre-flop this looks like a friendly limped almost family pot, but it secretly plants the seeds for a brutal cooler. J-Boggs just limps UTG with King-9 suited, Big Mike over limps with Ace-7, and Mike X comes along with 4-3 suited. Nobody has defined anything. There is no pre-flop aggression, and that means once the board gets messy, ranges stay wide, and people get married to hands they should be more suspicious of. The flop comes Ace-Jack-5 with a flush draw. It is one of those textures that punches Big Mike right in the chest, top pair with a decent kicker. J-Boggs leads 900 into the field, semi-bluffing with his draw and representing some weak ace or jack. Big Mike's call is very natural. He is way ahead of all the random stabs and worse aces that can limp. Mike X's call with bottom pair plus backdoor possibilities looks loose, but has a plan. In a limped pot, he is getting a good price and knows that if he improves, his hand will be heavily disguised. The turn brings the 4, which is a complete brick for Mike X. He is still hoping to draw that 4 of diamonds, so let's see what happens. And still no obvious danger showing. Action goes. Check from J-Boogs. Big Mike fires 3,000 as a standard value bet with top pair on a coordinated board. Mike X just calls again, and J-Boogs comes along with his strong draw. That passive flat for Mike X is sneaky, but it also keeps the pot multi-way on a board that is starting to load up with strong-made hands and big draws. By the time they see a river, the pot is already big relative to stacks. The river drops the deuce, completing the flush wheel for Mike X, but, crucially, also completing the front door flush for J-Boogs. J-Boogs checks, trying to trap with what he assumes is the nuts. Big Mike gives up and checks behind, and Mike X goes for what looks like a thin but reasonable value bet of 6,500. When J-Boogs now check raises to 20,000, he is screaming polarization, either a busted bluff turning into a story, or exactly a big flush. Mike X's shove over the top takes his hand from cleverly disguised to face-up spew. J-Boogs obliges and snaps with the king-high nut flush.
Can't fold.
Here's the call. And here comes Clifford.
You knew it. I have the nut flush. Nut flush? Yeah.
Uh-oh. The red canine brings out the red canine. Go get him. Take him off his leash.
When he re-raised, like, can't have anything else.
Go get Clifford out of rebuy corner. Clifford's down there. We're gonna have to follow you. Make sure you don't punch.
The sickest pot maybe I've ever lost in my life.
Oh, Cliffy.
Nut flush for a straight flush on the river for like 90,000.
79, but who's counting?
Deuce has never looked that good. That was a good-looking deuce.
Wow.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down at 6-5 offsuit, but he's up against his nemesis of 20 years, Phil Ivey, who's holding King-Jack suited. Ivey raises to 75,000. Most players would probably fold in Daniel's spot.
No choice. Can't fold it. Gotta see a flop in the big blind.
There's the call. So it's Daniel versus Phil.
Ivey is 64% favorite for now, but the flop comes 8-6-6 and Negreanu hits trips.
I don't see Phil falling for this.
Phil checks too. I don't know how, but he can somehow feel Daniel is strong here.
A king on the turn.
Now I see him falling for it a little.
Negreanu wants Phil second-guessing every assumption. Wants him trapped between is he bluffing and is he setting me up? What looks like hesitation is actually misdirection. This is less about cards, more about control.
Daniel leads. Phil now with top pair.
Even if you think Daniel has a 6, you can't just go folding top pair.
Negreanu's sizing here leaves Ivey about 3.5 to 1 on a call. And with top pair, that's usually a no-brainer. But what Daniel's really doing here is laying the groundwork for the river. He's planting the seed that says, if you call now, you're going to have to call big later. This is psychological compounding. Pressure applied in stages. Daniel is hoping that Phil did indeed hit that king on the turn, and he's going to try to make him sweat like a maniac.
He calls. The river is a jack.
Wow, Daniel is running better than Prefontaine.
Daniel value bets his trips. Phil forced to call with top 2.
Nope.
So obvious you have a 6. Got 350.
Trip 6s, Phil shows King Jack for top 2. Daniel's trip 6s takes 5.
Good call, good call. Good thing you didn't raise. That was smart. You know what you're doing.
Now let's see how Negreanu pushes his luck to the limit on the very next hand.
All in.
Call.
All in?
Huh?
Call.
Oh, we got one. I'm happy with my hand. I had suited, I had a king. A lot going on there. You move in, I call this time anyway. I was just saying, screw it. Okay, we need a hat.
At least one heart on the flop would be good for Daniel.
George needs the best hand to hold up to survive. The flop has a 5 and a 10 on it.
Oh, we got pairs. He's got pairs. We all got pairs. We all got 3 hearts, 3 diamonds. Pretty close race. 50-50.
Not sure the math there works, but you gotta believe it first, and Daniel really believes it.
The turn card is the 3 of diamonds.
That didn't help me at all. Quite the opposite, frankly.
5 of spades!
Oh!
Daniel wins!
That was lucky.
I just wanted clear that I clearly outplayed you in our all-in pots. Obviously.
Kid Poker is in the final.
All right. Sorry, bro. That was ugly.
Daniel Negreanu has pocket kings.
Raises.
Queen high. Queen high?
He opens the pot to $1,200, a classic early position flex that targets the blinds and sets up a pot he can steer in position. Phil Hellmuth, smooth, calls, choosing pot control and range protection over a thin 3-bet. Eugene Kachelov comes along as well with ace-9, content to realize in position and take a multi-way flop against 2 ranges that can play face-up on ace-high textures. Kachelov checks the ace-high flop, protecting a top-pair hand with a middling kicker and letting the action declare itself. Negreanu checks behind. Pocket kings hate attacking into 2 players on an ace board, and the slow down keeps weaker hands and bluffs alive while controlling the pot. Hellmuth takes the invitation and fires $1,200, a small stab meant to fold out nothing hands and price set against exactly these cautious checks. Kachelov calls, signaling he is not afraid of a little heat with top pair. Negreanu overcalls, a cagey line that keeps both ranges uncapped and disguises the true strength of kings by wearing the same hoodie as ace-X.
You too, Daniel?
Yeah.
My God.
You didn't expect 2 calls, right?
No,
Just one.
I was expecting 1 call.
No.
All 3 check the turn after the 8 rolls off. That card changes little. Kachelov sees no need to inflate with his kicker problem. Hellmuth's one-and-done bluff correctly shuts down into 2 sticky ranges, and Negreanu continues the sandbag, preserving the option to spring value or bluff catch on rivered scare cards. The river drops the king of clubs, and the trap wakes up. Kachelov leads $4,200, thin value that hopes to get paid by worse aces and denies a free showdown to stubborn pairs. Negreanu answers with a raise to $14,200, selling a story consistent with a slow-played monster or a patient ace that improved, and crucially targeting the very hand Kachelov is value betting.
I think Phil's Hollywooding a bit here since he bet out on the flop.
Hellmuth gets out of the way, his earlier poke having run its course. Faced with a credible, disciplined raise from a player who never overbets his bluffs, Kachelov has to reassess whether ace-9 is really a cash-out hand or a tip jar.
And Eugene folds.
I had at least that.
Vanessa is looking down on pocket aces.
So it's me and you. I got to raise it 1,200.
When wasn't called predictable. Many things.
So if you re-raise, then you build the pot so big, and then you're going to get bluffed out in the big pot.
Tony G thinks he's going to outplay Vanessa post-flop with position and a junk-suited looking hand.
Keep the pots low. I bet 2,000. Yeah. That's fair, you know. I think it's better betting in a dark. A dark raise, that's hard and commitment.
The flop is the dream board for Tony. He smashes bottom 2 pair versus most opponents. This is where he starts fast playing, trying to punish overpairs and top pair by ballooning the pot immediately. He leads 2K, to which Vanessa instantly raises to 5K. From her point of view, this looks super standard. She has overpair, she doesn't block spades, there are straight and flush combos Tony G can show up with, and she wants to deny equity.
You ready?
From Tony's point of view, that raise is exactly what he was hoping to induce. He doesn't just call, he makes it 20K.
You ready? If you win the hand, you keep me quiet.
Don't believe you. That bluff I'll call.
That size is Tony basically telling a story of, I'm not scared of you, I have a real hand. The problem he doesn't realize is Vanessa loves that story. When she flats the 20K instead of jamming, she's saying, I have you in jail, and I'm letting you keep betting. With aces, she caps nothing, and Tony can't narrow her the way he thinks he can. Turn is where everything flips, and Tony doesn't feel it yet. So Tony keeps value betting for 10K.
You could shut me right up.
How?
Well, by being all in and winning the pot.
Punch in the face.
Just push a button?
Thinking he can still get called by worse and charge flush draws. But in reality, he's now drawing almost dead against boats and nutty slow plays, and Vanessa has him in a spot where calling is mandatory and raising is unnecessary. Full house versus full house is where bankrolls go bankrupt, because nobody folds boats to one bet emotionally.
Now you got to show some guts. Can you bet this, or you're going to make a really weak check now on the end? Go on, Vanessa, you can do it.
All in.
Call.
Ace is full.
Wow, very nice. That's the best. Very nice.
You got screwed?
I got a full house too on the end.
Wow.
And a flush draw. That's it. That shut me up. Well done, Vanessa.
Vanessa doubles through.
I got lucky, obviously.
Not really. I mean, it's...
We took turns getting lucky. I got lucky to get the aces, you got lucky on the flop, I got lucky on the turn.
I haven't won one hand when I've been good. So.
Negreanu is holding pocket fives and he's raising to 95,000. He's up against the legends Tom Dwan with pocket nines and Phil Ivey with pocket tens.
Over to Tom Dwan.
That's not a hand Dwan would fold, not against Daniel, and definitely not in a $250,000 buy-in. Tom looks like he's thinking, I'm pretty sure he shouldn't flat and trap, but rather crank up the pressure early.
Dwan has just made a call with pocket nines. Perhaps at another time he might have raised. Oh, check this out. Phil Ivey's picked up pocket tens.
Yeah,
and
I'm pretty
he's
surprised.
Just called.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised by the flat call from Phil. It's usually a spot where you'd like to squeeze, especially the fact that he's on the button. It's going to look pretty fishy and quite possibly have someone play back at him.
Ike Haxton folds.
The flop comes 3 queen 6, 2 spades. Negreanu opened with pocket fives, whiffed the flop completely, and now he's first to act on this board, with Dwan and Ivey behind him, who are not exactly known for playing nice when they smell weakness.
Misses all of them. A check from Daniel. This will be interesting.
I don't think any of the three of them are going to be too thrilled with that flop, to be honest. Queen's certainly in the calling range of Tom and Phil. Hands like King Queen, Ace Queen. I expect Phil will just check this back as well.
Phil does. We'll see a turn.
The turn is the 4 of clubs, and things are starting to line up for some sneaky draws. No one took a stab on the flop, which means this pot's still up for grabs, and Negreanu knows it.
And given the fact that he was a pre-flop aggressor, both players have checked back the flop.
He does take a stab.
Dwan isn't just thinking about his cards. He's scanning Daniel and Phil like he's picking up frequencies. These guys are playing poker on a different level. Every glance, every pause, every chip toss. There's a language here only the elite understand, and Dwan is fluent.
I think Tom is more than happy to peel one here with nines. He's got to assume that Daniel's going to bet a queen on the flop there.
Well, he's got his eye on both Daniel and Phil, looking at across the table to both players, and he smooth calls here. So round to Phil Ivey, and this is a tough spot.
Even though he does have the best hand, it's probably correct to fold.
Yeah, well, Phil Ivey kind of stuck there. Tom Dwan now eyes only on Daniel Negreanu, and the river's a 2 of hearts.
And Daniel gets there.
Oh, Daniel checking. He's going to try and trap him. And look at this, it might work. Dwan reaching for chips.
Not sure.
Oh, wow, Tom Dwan checks. Daniel not happy.
I don't bet my friends, you know? I don't bet my friends.
Wow, Dwan's really relieved.
Daniel Negreanu is looking down on 8-6 suited. Calacanis opens to $1,200 with pocket sevens. That raise is standard from middle position. It folds out trash and plays well post-flop. Negreanu flats with 8-6 of diamonds. He is not calling to hit a pair. He is buying position, playability, and high equity boards. This texture massively improves the caller's range relative to the raiser. The pre-flop opener still has all the overpairs, but the callers capture the lion's share of the strong draws and 2-pair straight candidates. Negreanu's exact hand is near perfect. He leads $2,500 into 2 opponents, a small but purposeful stab that pressures ace-high and pocket 8s through 10s, while charging draws that he blocks and dominates.
Got a little some of that.
This card flips equity on its head. Calacanis spikes a set, but Negreanu's straight also arrives. Importantly, the new straight is very available from the caller's range. Any 6 often peels the flop, so Calacanis' set is strong but not invulnerable. Negreanu bets $7,000. That sizing accomplishes 2 things. First, it prints value immediately against 1-pair overpairs that do not believe, and against sets that fear raising into a straight. Second, it continues to charge diamond draws that are now drawing thin versus a made straight. From a range standpoint, the flat is telling. He is unlikely to have an overpair without redraws to a full house that wants protection. The board pairs. Full houses become possible and, in fact, Calacanis improves from a set to sevens full of fours. Negreanu straight loses equity versus the portion of Calacanis' range that slow played the turn with boats in mind. But many worse hands still exist.
This is reminiscent of a typical hand for Daniel Negreanu. Let's have the nuts with a redraw and see what happens. Let's pair the board, yeah. God, really? No, gotta be kidding me.
Guess that means you don't have the Jack 9 this time.
No, I had the nuts with a redraw. What'd you make it? How much?
35 more. Only 35 more.
Only 35 more? Why?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
What did you have like, you don't have a set, right? Because you would have raised me?
Yeah, I would have raised the set. I could have flopped a straight.
Could have flopped straight. Okay, I can beat that. Whew.
I could be on a flush draw. Could be busted.
Yeah, that's true too. 4s and 5s. No, I think you raised me.
I could have quads.
Yeah, you could have that too.
I could have aces and just be overplaying them.
I was gonna fold for sure, and now I'm thinking about calling you. So you're doing a good job if that's what you want.
Now I'm gonna be quiet and pretend that's not what I want. Tip the dealer $1,000. I will show it to you. You have to split it with the other dealer.
Oh, guarantee.
That's a good deal.
So, $1,000, you know what I have. You don't have to live and wait till the end of the season.
There's the call.
Sorry, not in the hand.
He called it. Sevens.
Aussie Katola opens the button to 150K with King-Jack offsuit. That sizing keeps Foxen's range wide and gives Katola position plus initiative with a hand that flops strong pairs and good two-pair combos. Alex Foxen defends the big blind with 8-6 of diamonds. Suited connectors are bread and butter, defends heads up. They realize equity well, threaten powerful semi-bluffs on many turns, and can cooler one-pair hands. On the flop, Foxen checks his second pair with backdoor flush possibilities and tons of turn cards to attack. Katola checks back top 2. That's deliberate pot control and deception on a very dynamic texture. The front door diamonds arrive and the ace smashes ranges.
Foxen made the flush. And Katola has completely under-repped his hand.
We saw this before though, Randy. Aussie checked back Jack 10, allowed Foxen to improve to a backdoor flush, and was able to find a river fold.
Foxen turns a flush and leads 250K. From his seat, this is a must bet. He has a strong value hand. He denies equity to single diamond hands, and he targets exactly Katola's checkbacks like King X and Jack X that hate this card but cannot fold. Katola just calls with kings and jacks. Raising would polarize himself and fold out worse while isolating only stronger flushes. Calling keeps Foxen's bluffs alive, controls the pot on a scary card, and leverages his redraw to a full house on paired rivers. The board pairs and Katola improves to a full house, kings full of jacks. Foxen sees a river that shouldn't change much against most of Katola's perceived turn call range, and value bets 5,500K with his flush, targeting one pair hands and ace X with a diamond. Katola now has the perfect shove. Jamming for roughly 6.1 million applies maximum pressure to every non-boat hand, credibly represents exactly what he has, and captures value from any flush that decides it is too high up to fold heads up.
If Foxen calls here, it's just over. He'll be down $6 million, and I don't see how he can fold.
If we can imagine for a second that playing in such stakes is possible for us mere mortals, what would you do in Foxen's position? Let me know in the comments.
Call. He calls. The biggest pot, $11 million.